Now, I'm pleased to introduce our first panelist, David Turner, Publishing Automation and Digital Transformation Specialist, Data Conversion Laboratory.
All right, howdy everybody, and thanks so much to SSP for giving me this opportunity. As Dave said, I'm David Turner, and I'm a digital transformation consultant and head of the partner relationships at Data Conversion Laboratory, also known as DCL. I am proud to present our latest solution, which is Content Crystallizer, which essentially helps a scholarly publication, whether it's a journal article or a book chapter, a conference proceeding, or what have you. It helps it to come together, to take shape, to crystallize into a publisher's desired form and format, with the goal of letting you go from Word to XML in 3 easy steps. So before I get too much further, I do have a quick poll, and I'm not exactly sure how this whole poll thing works, but I think Susan pushes it out there. Yes, we want to know, does the X-Styles end of life announcement affect you? Yes, no, or what the heck is X-Styles? Uh, the reason that we're asking this is that Content Crystallizer does a lot of things that are similar to what X-Styles does. It actually came about in response to the end of life announcement. Uh, so I'm just interested to see what we're working with here. And Susan, I'll just wait for you to post the results whenever you want to say, yep, this is done. Mhm. All right, we got a whole bunch of people that don't know what X-Styles is. That's great. And others that, yes, have been affected by this. A small percentage of no's. Okay. Well, let's just dig in. So for those of you who don't know X-Styles, um, X-Styles is a word plugin that's developed by a fantastic person in the industry, Bruce Rosenblum, who sadly passed away a couple years ago. And it's a tool that's been used successfully in the industry for many different things, right? Auto styling documents, cleaning them up, fixing reference formats, and then taking that and converting the content into XML. Um, Bruce's company, Anera, sold to Adapon a couple of years ago, and just recently it was announced that they're going to be retiring this tool. So one of our partners came to us and said, "Hey, do you guys have any kind of tool that could, help some of these people out that are looking for help?" And we don't have any kind of Word plugin, but I got to looking around and thinking, we actually do have a lot of software in our existing processes, and lo and behold, they do a lot of the same things. Um, it's not a Word plugin, but it is commercial quality software that we use, and it's not like a single piece of software. It's software that we've used in, it's not really been configured for external use. So we got to thinking, is there a way that we could do this in sort of a self-service, manner? Um, because obviously we could just tell people, oh, send it to us and we'll do it as an outsourced service. I mean, DCL does that kind of thing all the time. But this is not what that's about. We're looking to try to replicate something where someone has sort of a do-it-yourself kind of a solution, something that is fully automated, at least from the DCL part of the process, where they can get results in minutes as opposed to, days or hours or whatever it is that we do in another process. So we came up with this idea of a content vending machine, if you will, right? Where the software exists on our servers, you put in your content, some automation runs, a few minutes later, you get back results. You can make some changes, run it again, and get results. So um, it wasn't a very heavy lift for us because we weren't really creating new software. We just have been putting existing tools together in a new way. And that's what we've got. And it's resulted in this 3-step process on this next slide, where basically you come in and you start by getting the document prepped, and that sort of kicks off the crystallization process. Then step 2, you let the editor make some fixes, work with the authors to make some edits, and then ultimately load it up again. And step 3 then takes you actually from the Word document into XML. So at a little more of a deep level, the way we start is with a Word document, a raw Word document. It doesn't have to be styled or anything. Could be a journal article, book chapter, what have you. But the idea is that the author then loads that as a zip file with a manuscript, supplemental file, some basic metadata, and that kicks off this automated doc prep, which does a ton of different things, right? So it's intended to, really start by, applying styles automatically to all the different elements of the document, tables, headings, author names, affiliations. It goes through and it cleans up spacing problems, removes blank paragraphs, puts metadata in the right places, checks to make sure the metadata is there, looks up things on PubMed, Crossref, or the peer review system. It checks citations for completeness, checks the order of the citations, identifies unrecognized styles, does all of these things, and then ultimately delivers back a styled Word document. And we've tried to match the X styles look and feel, also with comments and error reporting integrated into that Word document. So the document is starting to crystallize. It's gone from raw into something that is styled, cleaned up, and ready to work with. At this point, the editor then starts to work with it. They incorporate whatever comments. They can override elements that they like. They can share back and forth with an author. And when they're done, then they can either run back through auto doc prep again and have it do some other additional checks, or they can move along and they can select the actual conversion option and take this thing onto XML. Now, before it does the full XML, the Word to XML process starts by doing a check to make sure no errors have been introduced. If there have been errors that have been introduced, we send back the document with a report. But once it does pass that step, then it moves into an automated conversion process. It converts the document into XML. It takes that XML, it parses it against the DTD, and then it runs a series of additional checks, a bunch of checks on the XML to make sure that all of these things, all of the styles, everything that the client has set up does match, and that they're getting really useful XML. The whole process takes like minutes. It's 5 to 10 minutes for part 1. It's like 5 to 10 minutes for part 2. If anything fails along the way, we send it back to the client with suggestions and comments, but ultimately the result is you get this valid and useful XML. Now, I can't go into all the details in the time that we have here today, but I did go ahead and put together a list. I violated my PowerPoint rule about amount of text on a slide, just so I could help you. Anyway, this is by no means a comprehensive list, but some of the things on the auto doc prep it's doing, it's using AI to auto apply these word styles to all the different elements of the article. It's doing things like verifying that citations have a match. If there's a citation listed at the end, is there a matching citation in the article? Are there titles where there's supposed to be titles? Do we have the author's name? Do we have the affiliations? And then depending on what the client wants us to do, we can either fix certain things automatically or we can suggest a fix in the comments. Finally, it does things like look for things that are out of place. So for example, like we found an author name in the middle of a table, or an abstract that was like in the complete wrong place in the document, or an image floating somewhere. So it does all of those. And then as far as on the XML side, um, it goes through and it checks, like I mentioned before, it checks for that suitability first. Then it goes through and it actually creates to make sure that we've got good XML, right? But more importantly, it goes in and it actually checks to make sure we don't just have valid XML, but we have good XML, right? So you could technically have like abstract and then the text insert abstract here and then a close tag of abstract, and that would parse, but that wouldn't be useful XML. So we can check all of those things. There are a ton of checks I didn't list here, and we can also customize checks too. So anyway, I'm pushing up against my 10 minutes, so that's going to take me to my last slide. And if I can actually click the button correctly. While you're scanning the QR code, let me just quickly summarize. we provide similar functionality to Xstyles, but it's not a Word plugin like Xstyles users are used to using. Um, it's a fully automated solution, and it's really geared to help that unstructured Word document crystallize into a structured Word document, and then that structured Word document crystallize into a useful XML. It can be customized in all sorts of ways, how things are ingested, whatever the styles are, how you want, what automations you want, what checks you want, what XML model you need, how you want things reported. And it doesn't just have to be customized at the publisher level. It can also be customized at the publication level. So if you have a couple of journals that you'd like treated different ways, we can accommodate that. Or if you have, books that are maybe in different product sets, we can, accomplish that altogether. In any case, that's our presentation. Thanks so much for listening. And thank you, SSP, for this opportunity.
This is for DCL. What should current Xstyles customers do to prepare for a transition to Content Crystallizer in the next year?
So I think what most people need to do on the front end uh, is really try to establish, how long do they want to try to continue using the Xstyles tool. Number two, I think that they need to consider, do they want to keep doing this based on their volume? Some of the customers we've talked to, it actually makes more sense for them to move to a services model. And then number three, I think it's exploring options with some of the providers that are out there that are doing similar things to DCL. We'd be happy to talk to anybody about what they're doing and their process. It's a pretty a robust setup process that we can do with you, and we can really turn this into something that's customized at a high level for your team.
The question is, did DCL say that styles, spellings, etc. can be customized for each publisher? If a publisher has multiple journals, can different styles be applied across journals?
Yes, I did say that we can customize those things, and yes, they can be customized individually by publication. Does not have to be just all all one type for a publisher.